Welcome to this Catholic bioethics moment. I'm Dr. Bridget Campion, and I'm speaking with Dr. Moira McQueen about death. Moira, what is the Catholic Church's view on death? How are we as Catholics to understand death?
Well, if we're talking about physical death and how that's established, because I think we have to talk about that first, because that happens to everybody, of course, so it's a universal phenomenon, we all die. And the Catholic Church will say about death that is when there's an irreversible cessation of either the heart or the brain. Nearly everybody knows that, but every so often there are a few problems about what that actually means. But so there's a very clear scientific definition, if you like, so ways of establishing death has occurred. And the Catholic Church says that what it does is accept the current scientific ways of measuring death. So it doesn't have a different definition of physical dying.
Right.
But when it comes to talking about just death in a broader sense, perhaps we could say, then we look at death, I think, in a very different way from many people.
Okay.
Because we don't have a materialistic view of the person, that we're just our body, which we're saying does die under these specific conditions. But we talk of ourselves as being bigger than that. There's a bigger self. We talk about it as our body and our soul, that interior part that makes every single one of us a very different individual. And our belief is that on death, the physical part disappears, dies, but the spiritual part continues.
So there's a sense in which, even though our earthly physical existence stops, comes to an end, there's nevertheless a sense that we continue on, so that death is not the end of us. Would that be fair to say?
Exactly. We're part of a much bigger reality, and that bigger reality we ascribe to God, however you describe it. And so when the material part disappears, we really believe that interior part, that where we experience ourselves, where it's not just our body, there is someone who's very definitely Dr. Bridget Campion, unique individual. Every single one of us, unique individual. And we really see that there's a way of that continuing in a different form.
And very often, as Catholics, we will hear the phrase, or certainly have the conviction, that all human life is to be protected from conception until natural death. What does natural death mean?
Well, natural death means actually dying of the disease that you have, or whether at the end of life, and no matter what stage it will happen. I mean, it could be an accident where you're killed instantaneously, and most of us wouldn't call that a natural death in that sense, but of course it is really, because you die then of the injuries sustained. And people at the end of life then, whichever way we all go, we just know we all go. And what that means is we die of whatever is wrong with us or suddenly happens to us, like a sudden heart attack. And that is, we haven't brought it on, we haven't instigated it. It's one of the we all just come to a natural end, and we call that natural death.
Thank you so much.